Okay, so now we are recording. Again, if there's something you missed, you can come back and watch the recording later. For those who come in late, the recording is there. Okay, so I'll start by sharing my screen. Once I do that, if you have a question, type it into the chat bar over there. And when I finish sharing, I'll come back and I'll answer any questions. Okay, so here we are. Let's have a look at what you had to do last week. Okay, it's a little bit slow. My computer's getting tired, I think. Okay, so last week you had to find or create a PowerPoint template. Okay, to help you do that, you watched two Edpuzzle videos. Okay, one looked at how to find a free PowerPoint template, the other looked at how to create a PowerPoint template. And then to help you with the actual giving a presentation, the visual aspect of giving a presentation, we watched Steve Jobs and how he gave visual presentations. And then for your project, you had to prepare your presentation, which meant take all the material that you had found from your research the week before, turn it into a PowerPoint. Okay, so let's have a look at each of those parts. Okay, so last week, pardon me, last week there were these 3 Edpuzzles. Now in terms of time, last week was probably quite a big week for you, okay, because these 2 Edpuzzles were quite long. But it was important that you did that because finding a good template will make the rest of your presentation, it will increase the level, okay? It'll make it better and it will make it easier for you to keep your presentation consistent. So the first thing I asked you to do was find a free PowerPoint template. This is always the best option. If you can find a good template and maybe just adjust it to the way you want it, that's always a good way to go. But when you can't find something that satisfies what you are trying to do, then you can create your own. And that's what this second one was about. It was about creating your own PowerPoint template. Now, everybody actually did this, which was fantastic. Okay, so good job. The other one, present like Steve Jobs. And again, as I said, that was simply about identifying the good aspects of giving a presentation. Okay, so Steve Jobs was one of the best in the world at giving presentations. His visuals especially were really good. Okay, he kept it very simple. He had a very strong visual message. So learning from him is a good way to learn. Okay, so this week, you've probably already noticed there are a few more Edpuzzles, but we'll look at those in just a moment. Okay, so the actual preparation part of your project, okay, you had to take the information that you had done research on, okay, so 2 countries. You had to find 3 topics to compare those countries against each other. And then you had to have at least 5 slides. The first slide was a title slide, so you introduce the 2 countries, make sure your name is on there. Then 3 more slides, 1 slide, or each slide presenting a different topic, okay? And then a final slide with 3 questions on it. Now you can have more than 5 slides, but your presentation is only 2 to 3 minutes, probably around 2 minutes, okay? And the idea was, last week, concentrate on the visual message. Concentrate on making your PowerPoint and getting all of these things right. Okay, so taking everything that you learned from the Steve Jobs video, finding a good template, all of the ideas from the textbook in delivering the visual message, put all those together to create your PowerPoint. So now you have a PowerPoint. Okay, so you've done the planning, you've done the preparation. Next, you have to do the practice. So let's have a look at what that means. And that's in this week's folder, so I'm just getting out of here. Here we go. Again, a nice simple instruction folder for this week. And this week, there are 3 things to do, but one main thing, okay? You're going to look at a bad presentation, okay? And then you're going to compare that with a good presentation. Now, the bad presentation is a presentation that I have created, and it's visually bad. It's a bad PowerPoint. But the idea is to show you why the PowerPoint is bad. Okay, and hopefully you can already identify many of those reasons. Then, once you've finished looking at the things that you should not do, then we look at a good presentation. Meaning, we look at the things that you should be doing. The content of both presentations is exactly the same. The content of the presentations is actually about how to give a presentation. So it's really useful information. It comes from a different textbook. It comes from this. It's called Presenting Different Opinions. And in the back of this book, there is a group of tips on how to give a good presentation. So that's what I have presented in this good and bad presentation. So that's on Edpuzzle, all right? And you'll see down here, there's a link. Do the bad one first. Then when you've done that, go back and have a look at the good one, okay? At the end of the good one, there is a summary of all the ideas that you should keep in mind when you are making your presentation and also delivering your presentation. Once you have done the Edpuzzles, then go on and do the project, all right? And I'll talk about why in a moment. But quickly, let's have a look at those 2 Edpuzzles. So there's the bad one, there's the good one. As always, just the link that I've given you will take you straight here. Then you can do it. Just click on the presentation and answer the questions. Let's go back. Okay, so do both. Now, the reason why I want you to do the Edpuzzles first is because you might see something in the Edpuzzle that you, like something that you shouldn't do that you have done in your presentation. Okay, and you can go back to your PowerPoint and you can change it. Or, if you're watching the good presentation, you might see something that you haven't done that you would like to do. Okay, that will make your presentation better. And so again, you can go into your PowerPoint and you can make changes before you start practicing. Okay, the practice should be the last thing that you do. Okay, it's not the least important. It's just as important as the other parts, but you do it once everything else is finished. Okay, you have all your content, you put your slides together, then practice. And I'll show you how to practice in a moment. Okay, just a reminder of what the presentation is about. Okay, at least 5 slides. I just talked about all of this. Pardon me. So with the practice, you start by writing everything that you want to say down. Write it out. Okay, you can type it onto a computer or you can just write it by hand on a sheet of paper. Okay, but write it out so that you can read it. Then you will practice your presentation, okay? And the idea of practicing is to memorize what you are going to say and to coordinate what you say with how you show your slides. So you practice with the presentation. Finally, the all-important record your presentation using the screen share function on Flipgrid. We'll have a look at that in just a moment. Okay, so what do you need to do? To write out your presentation, okay, for each slide, write one paragraph. And the way that should work is because each slide should really have one main point. Now, you might only need to write, 2 or 3 sentences, or you might need to write 6 or 7 sentences if it's a big slide. But the point is that you write out the main idea for each slide. So the first slide is your introduction. So how are you going to introduce yourself? Okay. Then what is the main point of the slide? Make sure you say what the main points are. For the 3 topics, you need to use the IEE principle. Okay, just here. So introduce the slide, introduce the visual, whether it's a picture or a graph or a diagram, introduce it. Say what it is. Then explain what it means, okay? Explain what the numbers are or what the audience is looking at, okay? Are they looking at a pie graph? Are they looking at a horizontal bar graph? What is being measured? Or is it just a photo? Where is the photo being taken, okay? And what is the photo of? So you introduce, then explain, and most importantly, emphasize what is the main idea. Why are you showing that slide to the audience? What do they need to remember? Okay? Okay, so when you are writing it out, those are the things that you need to be saying. So roughly 1 paragraph for each slide. Now, the next part is read your notes and do your presentation. So start speaking the presentation and trying to memorize it. Memorizing your presentation will make it so much better, okay? Now you're lucky with this presentation because you can just record it onto a screen, so you can actually have your notes next to you, you can read them, nobody knows. But if you can memorize them, even though nobody can see you, your presentation will still be better than if you don't, because your voice emphasis will change, okay? And also practice with the computer, okay? And I'll explain that again in a moment. The other thing is, when you are practicing your presentation, look for any words that are difficult to say, okay? If the pronunciation of the word is difficult, then look it up, okay? I've given you a link here to dictionary.com. Go to dictionary.com. I've already got it open. Type your word, that difficult word, into here, or copy and paste it if you want. You can see there is a phonetic spelling, okay? There's also just a normal phonetic spelling, and
maritime.
You can listen to it. Now, this is a really good American accent. If you want, because it's dictionary.com, if you want an English accent, use Cambridge. If you want an Australian accent, like me, use Merriam. All of those are free dictionaries online. Okay, so practice the hard to say words. Practice your presentation 2 or 3 times. As I said, practice it while you are using your PowerPoint, okay? Now, the reason you do that is you want to make sure that the slides work the way you want them to. So when you go from one slide to the next slide, if you have an animation on it, or if it's loading up a certain way, you will find out if there's a problem by practicing with the slide first. And finally, the all-important recording of your presentation. Record it using the screen share function on Flipgrid. The link to the screen share topic is here, okay? So if I click on that, it'll take me to a screen that I won't be able to access. You have to put your student number in, remember? Just put your number in here and let's go. Now when you do that, it'll take you here, okay? Compare two countries. These are the details straight out of the book, but the information is here, okay? Essentially 2 to 3 minutes. I think I've actually given you 10 minutes with this. Maybe I've given you 3, but it probably won't take 3 minutes to do this, okay? At least 5 slides, and this is how you will be evaluated. But there's actually more details of the evaluation on the Schoology page. So I would read the Schoology page first. Now, with this, with recording onto the Flipgrid screen, remember 2 things. First of all, use Chrome. Use the Chrome browser. Okay, the other browsers have problems with the screen share function. So make sure you're using the Chrome browser. Second, when you record your presentation, okay, if you make a mess, you can redo it. Okay, so I would actually do a practice first. Do a practice. Just make sure you understand how the screen share works. The other thing with the screen share is what I have noticed is that sometimes it will cut off the end of your presentation, or it'll cut off the end of your recording. So to make sure that doesn't happen to you, talk longer than the actual presentation goes. So when you get to the last slide and you say thank you very much for your presentation, sing happy birthday twice like you do when you wash your hands. Okay, just keep talking for another 10 or 20 seconds. Then, once you have done that, you'll see in the screen share editing window, you can edit your movie. That means you can go and you can cut the end, the bit where you were talking a little bit longer, you can cut it so it stops right at the end of your presentation. That means that your presentation won't be cut off. The other thing you can do is if you want to record it a few times, you can actually go back and you can edit the bits that you like, okay? And you can add them together. It's a little bit difficult to do, so I wouldn't recommend it, but if you want to, you can do that. If you're not happy with your the end of your presentation, for example, you can actually do that again, and you can cut and paste. So you can cut off the first ending and you can paste the second ending in so that your presentation is better. Okay, so that is what you need to do, and it needs to be done, okay, it needs to be done by June 24th. That's next Wednesday at 9 o'clock. As I said, the criteria for evaluation are here. Okay, you'll be evaluated on your voice, on the content that you have used, how much effort it appears you have put into your presentation, most importantly, how you have used your visuals. Okay, I really want you to concentrate on the visual aspect of your presentation and overall impression. If you want to have another look at a previous presentation, okay, I've left the link to the Compare Two Countries presentation here. All right, that's it for the presentation. Okay, there's one more thing we have to talk about, and that is this. Now, the university has asked me to tell you about the survey that you need to do for this course. You need to do these surveys for every course you are doing, so you've probably already done some. But if you haven't, here it is for the first time. I've put a link to the website, the university website, where the survey is being held, and there's also a QR code if you want to use your smartphone. Now, the university sent me a PowerPoint Okay, you've probably already seen it in Japanese, but here it is again in English. It's the Course Reflection Survey. The main idea of this survey is that your feedback will help me improve this class for quarter 2 and also for future students. Okay, it's anonymous. That means that you don't put down your name, you don't put down your email address, I don't think, your student ID. Okay, so the information will be returned to me, but I don't know who has said what. So be honest, because this is the first time we've done this course online. I'm sure it's not perfect. Any feedback you can give would be welcomed. I will explain next week about feedback, but just quickly, there are 2 different types. Okay, so you'll be doing this next week for for the presentations, but also for this course. If you could give 2 types of feedback, that would be really good. What has been successful? What did you think worked for the course? Okay, so that's called positive feedback. What was good that you enjoyed about the course? Secondly, what didn't work? Okay, and more importantly, how can the course be made better? Okay, this is called not negative feedback, it's called advice, basically. It's critical feedback. So if you see that there was a problem, or if you see that there is a way that this course could be improved, please make a suggestion. Okay, so those 2 types of feedback, and you'll be doing that next week with each other's presentations as well. You'll give each other positive feedback, what was good about each other's presentations, and you will also give advice. How can the other students in the class improve their presentations when they do their next presentation? All right, so just quickly, as far as the survey goes, please finish it by the 9th of July. As I said, the link is in Schoology, the QR code is in Schoology. Once you get into the link, once you click on the link, it'll bring you here on a PC. You need to log in. Then on the PC, you click on questionnaire and then click on answer, the answer screen, okay? Just then answer the questions. If you're using your smartphone, if you use the QR code, click here, then questionnaire, then answer screen, and you can do it on your phone. All right, so we'll get out of that. As I said, here are the links. Okay, so that's it for this week. Okay, the main goals: make sure you watch the bad presentation first, then watch the good presentation. Make any changes you want to your PowerPoint, okay, after looking at these, and then practice your presentation and record it. Do a screen share using Flipgrid. As always, if you have any problems, contact me either through the class forum or by sending me an email. Okay, so I'll stop sharing my screen now. Here we go. Okay. Okay, there's a question, and it's a good question. Can I attach graphs, data, and photos using materials from other sites other than the ones taught by me? Absolutely, yes. That's what I want. I want you to go and do research. Okay, don't just use the information I've given you. I gave you that information as a way of helping you start somewhere, but the more you look, the more you will learn. And that's the most valuable skill you will learn while you are at university, okay? The ability to find information and then to use that information for whatever project you're working on is going to be the most valuable skill you learn while you are at university, whether it's in English or in Japanese, okay? Having that skill to do research, to answer a question, and to then take that information and give it to other people is one of the most valuable skills you will learn. So yes, please go and get as much information as you can from any other website that you want. But just remember, if you are using that, you need to reference it. You need to say where the information came from. Okay? Thank you. I'm looking AM. Thank you for that question. It's a good question. Okay, anybody else? Another question. Okay. Oh, this was a private question, but it's a good one. So I'll answer it for everybody. Okay, one student has asked, I made more than 5 slides, made 12 slides. Is it okay? Yes, that's okay, but just remember the time limit. Okay, you have 2 to 3 minutes. As long as you can show all those slides and explain them clearly in 2 to 3 minutes, that's fine. Okay, so it was 5 slides minimum. Okay, so you must have at least 3 topics. And if you've got 12 slides, that's probably better, because the worst thing you can do is take lots of ideas and put them into one slide. Okay, it makes it difficult to understand for the audience. It's far better to take those ideas and spread them over 12 slides and then explain them more clearly. Okay, so no problem. Any other questions? Okay, those are 2 really good questions, by the way. Thank you. Okay, that looks like it's it. As always, if you do have another question that you think of later, just send me an email, post it in the forum. Otherwise, so this week, practice your presentation, okay? And when you are ready, record it. If you have any problems with Flipgrid, let me know early. Don't tell me next Wednesday, tell me before Wednesday. All right? Okay, in that case, I will stop recording now.